everyone. In this demo, I will try to work out the second assignment for the Access project. For this part of the Access, we are going to learn how to import an external Excel file directly into the Access to create the tables. After that, we'll link all of the tables using the relationships and then start to learn making queries and reports because those are the major functionalities of the Access, which is different from Excel. So we can do quick data search based upon criteria, and you can also write your own code, which is more efficient to work and manage your database. To start the second assignment, so open your Access app, the software from your laptop or desktop, and click on a black database. And for this one, again, you can say like, accounting 332, access, right? So number two, maybe, and with your last name, okay, in case, because when I grade the assignments, I need to download and then reopen. So with your name, it will be better for me to recognize the download files. So create a name and create. You will see still the default table one pop-up, but we are not going to use it. We are going to import the external data. The Excel I ask you to download from the canvas and save to a local drive. So from here, click on the main tabs. Okay, click on the external data. But be careful, do not use this one. This part is for exports. Okay, like exports data from your Access database. We are importing. The importing is on the left. Okay, this group of the tabs. So this one, so the new data source from file and app options can be another database, or online server and other resources. Okay, but for us, we are going to do the file and the Excel. And now point to the, browse your local drive or OneDrive to find the Excel you have saved from the file I posted on the canvas. So I'm browsing. I have it under my teaching folder. So this one, okay, you should have downloaded this one from the Canvas upload. Okay, so pointing to so double click that or point to the file name and open. Now the import, like dialog, okay, window will pop up. So you browse and then there are different options. We are importing a new data source in this case, or you can import a file and append, added to an existing table in your database, but that's not our case, but that's available. For example, if I'm trying to add more sales transactions to my sales order table, you can select the second function and you have the third option also, but we are going to use the first one and then you can click on OK. Then from here, you will see all of the worksheets under the Excel. We have to do the import of the worksheet one by one to different tables. So following the order of the worksheets, okay, checking, the first will give you a overview of your worksheets information like the rows and the columns. Have a brief review it, especially the delimiter. You can see the column separations is proper. So otherwise you may adjust. Okay, this is very critical if you don't have Excel, if you have text file, you need to make sure the column delimitations is right. The only thing I want to show in the next choice, okay, like, my first row is not my actual data, is the name or the heading of the columns. So the next one, if it's not checked, okay, if like this box didn't check, you need to check. In our case, the first row include the column headings, okay, rather than actual data. If you don't have the column heading, you have all the actual data, then you need to uncheck this box. No, so it's very clearly you see what's the change. And then the second, okay, define the column heading. And next one, now you can check each of the column in case you sometimes want to change maybe the name. Like here, you can change the name from the Excel to Access if you want to, I want to rename it, or the data type. All right, it's not really exhaustive, but you can change the data type. Okay, the basic, from a numbers to text or like yes or no. But I will stay, in the handouts, I will use the continue use or short text for all of the primary IDs for different tables. But for other things like, the invoice date, right, is already automatically detected as a date variable. Okay, that's fine. And customer ID, like order date is a date variable, short text, and short text. Okay, that's you keep all of the short text because we need them to link to other tables. They need to have the same data type. So next, and also very important, you don't want the access create auto ID for your primary key or is similar to the access creating the tables. So pick the second. So most case, use the second choice to pick up our own primary key, okay, which is the invoice ID. But in case if you have other variables, right, not in the first column, and you also can change from here, but to make it more consistent, the first column, okay, primary key, and the next. And they will name the table as your worksheet name. If you want to change something, for example, I want to call like sales orders or, but anything else, you can do it here. I will skip the wizard thing and finish and don't save the importing step. If you save the import step, they will say, save some SQL code, okay, for the importing process, if you want to repeat it. So close, you will see the new table showed in the list. And if you click on that, okay, it's almost everything we see under the Excel. I think that's kind of, all of the column, the name, the format, okay, it's fun. And then if you want to check the design wheel, like, view, in case in the future, you want to make some additions, like, refine of the data, you can go from here. Okay, so the 5 columns. So that's the first table I finished. I don't really need the table one. What you can do, just click on the name and right click and delete. Okay, you can leave it there, but we don't really need it. What happened? Oh, because I'm opening that. Okay, I need to click and delete. Okay, it will update. So we need to do this for all of the 5 other worksheets under the table, but I will try to do the order details first because all others you can repeat. But all the details, we have a composite primary key. So 2 columns are both primary keys, which I explained the reasons in the class. So that one a little bit different. So let me demo that, and then you can finish all of the other three tables by yourself. So external data, new data source from file, Excel, and it's still pointing to the Excel, but if I, but you still need to refer to the file name. Otherwise, you can see the okay, great. Okay, I couldn't really move. So still going back to the directory, your browser of your database, the files, and then point to the database. Okay, the Excel, and then click on OK. Okay, this time I'm importing the second worksheet, the order details. This one is very unique because this one we manually created this worksheet to break down the model M to M, so many to many relationships between the sales table and the inventory. So we have a composite primary key. Okay, the invoice ID is referring to the sales order, and the inventory ID is referring to the inventory table. So it's acting as a bridge between two big tables. Okay, we are trying to give the order details, right? So for each invoice ID, it may include multiple inventory items. So both the sales table, if you're looking for, the sales table is only the general invoice information, but not order details. And in the inventory, we have the inventory list, but no order information, right? So the other details give you the actual sales item for each invoice. So it's a combination for both tables with the actual sales information, so composite. So with the sales quantities and unit price, right? So you can see the unit price, we have many decimals. We can adjust it later here or in the access later. But anyway, 4 columns, so confirm it. And also the first column contains the column headings. Okay, so continue. And invoice IDs for this one, yeah, you can double check. The only thing if you want, maybe the unit ID, the double means you have a very long digit, like decimal points. Okay, for this one, I may use a single or I think a currency can maybe cut. Okay, like, give me the dollar sign and also reduce to 2 digits of decimal points. Okay, like currencies. You also can do this later in Access. Okay, doesn't matter. Um, but if this is something you can do, if you do it here, avoid update later on the access. So next, this one very critical. No primary key. Okay, even I know both columns, but you couldn't do a 2 column as a primary key in the importing feature. You may do it in Access directly, but you couldn't do here if you choose one of the invoice ID or inventory ID. Actually, the system wouldn't accept because we already use the invoice ID for the sales table. They will tell you redundant. So choose the third. Okay, no primary key. This is the unique case. And then continue. And I will just keep the name of the table, finish, and close. Now the second table pop up, and I think the currency changed, right, for the unit price, which is really what I want. With invoice ID, inventory ID. So go back to here. You can check the design view. 4 columns. The quantity, is fine. Yeah. But this is the place the bottom for each column. That's the place you can refine and give some restriction like the data type, data formats, decimal points. That's the place you can refine your data requirements. Okay, so that's the second table. I will just do one. Probably I want to show you the relationships. Okay, I will do all of them then. Okay, so the third one, I will do those quick, okay, with less explanations. Inventory. Okay, this is our product list. For this one, I'm almost I can use the default on only this one. Okay, again, choose your own primary key, okay, which is the inventory ID, and then continue and finish. Then two more times. Okay, customer database. First row, short text. Yeah, I think that's fine. Second, okay, so my own primary key, customer ID, finish, close. And finally, the employee or sales, like probably like the salesperson employee data. And this one, yeah, I need to check, So sometimes it's already checked, sometimes it doesn't, but a double check. Okay, always double check before you move on. Employee ID, short text, that's fine. And that's also my own primary key, employee ID, the employee table. Okay, finished. Now I have all of the 5 tables. I need to work on my, this sales expanded sales database. Before I can, from here, I'm not asking you to do any the data entry using the forms, but we'll focus on you creating queries, okay, and reports impossible. So query is like data search. So now I'm building on the relationships, okay, so I can do the search across the different tables. So database tools and the relationships, drag all of the 5 tables onto the canvas and try to put the sales order in the middle and the customer on the left. Then the order details over here, employee maybe here, and then the inventory. Yeah, okay, I think something like this. But anyway, okay, you can organize like the thing is when I try to do the layout, avoid I will have many cross lines. Okay, when I connect the primary key and the foreign keys. Now, based upon our understanding of the relationships, first, the sales order table and the customer, they are linked by the customer ID, right? Which is really what we have done also in the first assignment. So I will lay my cursor, make sure the customer is starting from here. Click on that and hold your mouse and start to move and lay over on the other customer ID and now release your mouse and do not choose the in first. Okay, like, we can do that, but if you like, I think you can do it here because my database is complete because that will really enforce a one-to-many relationships. So that's like the case. Enforce or don't enforce, and this time is fun. And then the other sales order to the order details, right? So other details is a specialized bridge table. You can see it as a bridge or connection between sales order, like your invoice and the inventory items. Okay. So this one, the invoice ID, continue to drag and then drop on the invoice ID. Here, this one, You can do, I believe, is fun. Okay, you can do a multiple, like in first. And then the inventory and order detail. Okay, this one I can start from here or start from here, but anyway, inventory ID starting from here and drag and drop. One too many, or you don't need to if you don't choose that, that's fine also. Okay. And then finally the employee ID, right? This one and the employee table. Just use this link, we can check and this one, if I don't inverse, you wouldn't have the infinite sign, okay, like the horizontal eight, like for the relationships. For our state, it's fine, but if you work on real database, maybe this enforcement, you have to put it. Okay, that's, I think, a complete, maybe I think this is better. Yeah. So in that case, I don't have any layover or cross of the association lines. And again, uh, for tables, if they don't have logic relationship, right? So for example, customer table and orders detail, if they don't have this natural or logical relationships, you don't need, okay, they are independent to each other. They don't have data linkage or customer and employees, and they don't have that also. Okay, so just skip. That's pretty much what we need to use to create queries and reports later. And now you can save the relationship and go back and seemingly no change, but we are ready to work on the remaining steps. I will finish. Okay, I will do the remaining in another video. Let's see.